Have you ever felt like your kindness is being taken for granted? Being kind is one of the most celebrated virtues in society. But can you be too kind? What if, in your efforts to be compassionate, you're actually draining yourself, inviting mistreatment, or allowing others to cross your boundaries? The truth is, kindness without wisdom can be self-destructive. Saying yes to everything, putting others before yourself at all costs, or tolerating disrespect in the name of being nice doesn't make you virtuous. It makes you vulnerable. And this is where Stoicism offers a much-needed reality check. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca teach that true kindness is not about pleasing everyone. It's about practicing virtue with wisdom, boundaries, and strength. They remind us that while kindness is valuable, it must be balanced with self-respect, discernment, and the courage to say no. In this video, we'll explore 5 crucial warnings about being too kind through the lens of Stoic philosophy. If you've ever wondered whether your kindness is helping or harming you, this is a message you need to hear. Let's begin. Number 1. Kindness versus self-sacrifice. Where's the line? One of the most subtle pitfalls of kindness is when it blurs into self-sacrifice. We all want to help others, but where do we draw the line when it starts taking a toll on ourselves? This is not an easy question, especially in a world that encourages selflessness. However, the Stoics understood that there is a balance between being kind and losing yourself in the process. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." While on the surface, this quote may seem to refer to how we should handle people who wrong us. It also carries an important lesson about maintaining personal boundaries in the face of others' needs. Aurelius was reminding us that we have the power to control our reactions and behavior, no matter what others may do to us. This applies directly to the practice of kindness. You may be tempted to always respond with kindness, but at what cost? If that kindness means sacrificing your health, your time, or your values, then it is no longer a true act of virtue. Instead, it becomes self-destructive. When we sacrifice our own well-being for others, whether that means saying yes to every request, taking on burdens that aren't ours to carry, or neglecting our personal needs, we risk burning out. Kindness, when unchecked, can become a form of emotional and psychological self-sabotage. Stoicism teaches us that we are responsible for our own happiness and well-being, and if we overextend ourselves, we may harm the very people we are trying to help. So how do we know where to draw the line? The key is to recognize that kindness is a virtue that must be practiced wisely. We are not obligated to say yes to every request or sacrifice ourselves for every cause. Instead, we should ask ourselves, is this action aligned with my values? Does it serve my greater purpose? Will it compromise my peace of mind and inner tranquility? If the answer is no, then it's okay to say no or set a boundary. By doing so, we are not being unkind. Rather, we are practicing the Stoic virtues of wisdom and temperance. In the modern world, it is easy to get caught up in the culture of constant giving. Social media and society often reward those who are seen as overly generous or selfless. But true selflessness in Stoicism does not mean giving until we are empty. Instead, it means acting according to our reason and exercising judgment about what is truly needed in any situation. Just because someone asks for your help does not mean you must provide it at the expense of your own well-being. Number 2, protecting your boundaries without being cruel. One of the most difficult aspects of kindness is learning to protect your boundaries without coming across as harsh or cruel. In a world where people often expect others to give more than they can reasonably provide, it can be challenging to balance kindness with the need to say no. But the Stoic philosophy offers clarity in this area. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher, taught, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." This powerful statement highlights a central tenet of Stoicism. Freedom comes from controlling what is within our power and letting go of what is not. Our boundaries are one of the most important things within our control. They allow us to maintain our inner peace and focus on what truly matters. When we protect our boundaries, we are exercising freedom, not only freedom from external pressures, but also freedom from internal chaos. In the modern world, there is often a tendency to equate kindness with people-pleasing. We may feel that we must accommodate every request, even at the cost of our own comfort or needs. But this is a misunderstanding of what true kindness is. Protecting your boundaries is an essential aspect of maintaining your mental health, and it is not cruel or unkind to do so. In fact, by respecting your own needs, you are better able to show up for others in a way that is healthy and sustainable. Stoics understood that one cannot help others effectively if one is depleted. If you constantly give without considering your own well-being, you will eventually run out of energy and resources. Protecting your boundaries allows you to remain strong and capable, so that when you do choose to help, you can do so from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. When we say no to something that drains us, we are saying yes to maintaining our own strength and vitality. This ultimately allows us to help others in ways that are both meaningful and sustainable. Setting boundaries can be uncomfortable, especially if we are accustomed to always pleasing others. But Epictetus reminds us that we cannot control how others react to our boundaries. What we can control is how we enforce them. We do not need to be cruel or harsh in setting our limits. We simply need to communicate them clearly and respectfully. It is entirely possible to say no with kindness, and doing so is a form of self-respect. As the Stoics teach, our peace of mind and well-being are more important than the fleeting approval of others. The practice of protecting our boundaries without cruelty is a skill that takes time and self-awareness to cultivate. It requires us to listen to our inner wisdom and acknowledge that we are worthy of respect and care. When we understand that we are in charge of our own happiness, we can begin to set boundaries that honor our needs without feeling guilty or selfish. In conclusion, kindness is a powerful and important virtue, but like all virtues, it must be practiced in balance. The Stoic philosophy offers valuable insights into how we can be kind without losing ourselves in the process. By drawing the line between kindness and self-sacrifice, and by protecting our boundaries with wisdom and respect, we can cultivate a form of kindness that is both virtuous and sustainable. Number 3, are you being too kind to people who don't deserve it? One of the most challenging aspects of kindness is recognizing when it's being extended to those who don't truly appreciate it. It's easy to fall into the trap of offering kindness indiscriminately, especially when we feel compelled to treat others with the same level of respect and generosity that we would want for ourselves. But Stoicism teaches us that while we should always strive to be virtuous, we must also exercise discernment in our actions. Not everyone we meet deserves our kindness, and part of the wisdom of Stoicism is knowing when to withdraw our energy from those who would take advantage of it. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This quote is a reminder that while we should remain compassionate and patient with those around us, we should hold ourselves to higher standards. We have control over how we respond to the behavior of others, but we do not have control over their actions or how they perceive our kindness. Being too kind to people who do not value our efforts can result in frustration, resentment, and emotional burnout. The Stoics understood that the path to peace is not about constantly pleasing others, especially when their actions undermine our values or well-being. They taught that we should not waste our time and energy on those who exploit our goodwill or take us for granted. True kindness, in their view, should be directed toward those who recognize and appreciate it, and, more importantly, it should be practiced with a clear sense of purpose. Giving your time and resources to someone who is ungrateful does not benefit them or you in the long run. In modern life, this manifests in many ways. We may encounter people who only reach out to us when they need something, or we may have friends or colleagues who repeatedly take advantage of our kindness without ever offering anything in return. It's important to remember that kindness does not mean being a doormat. There is wisdom in recognizing when someone is not deserving of your generosity. And it's okay to step back and reserve your energy for those who truly value and reciprocate your kindness. This doesn't mean that we should turn our backs on people who make mistakes or who are going through difficult times. Stoicism encourages empathy and understanding, but it also teaches us to be wise in our actions. If we repeatedly extend kindness to those who are ungrateful or exploitative, we may find ourselves feeling empty, resentful, or manipulated. We should not be afraid to draw boundaries and refuse to give to those who do not deserve our time, attention, or energy. The Stoic approach to kindness is not about being selective or judgmental, but about aligning our actions with our values. If someone repeatedly takes advantage of your kindness, you may need to consider whether continuing to offer it is truly in alignment with the person's needs or your own well-being. Kindness should never come at the cost of your dignity, and the Stoic teaching of self-respect reminds us that we are responsible for ensuring that our kindness is offered in ways that are both sustainable and meaningful. Number 4. Kindness without expectation. The Stoic approach. Another essential lesson from Stoicism is that true kindness is given without expectation of return. In our modern world, we are often taught to seek rewards or recognition for our actions, whether it's the hope of receiving something in return or the desire for acknowledgement and validation. Many people give with the expectation of receiving something back. But the Stoics offer a different perspective. True kindness is an act of virtue that requires no external reward. Epictetus famously said, "Do not seek to be understood, but understand." This statement calls us to move beyond our personal desires and to act for the sake of acting virtuously, rather than for the sake of gaining something in return. When we offer kindness, expecting something back, whether it's gratitude, praise, or material reward, we are not truly being kind, we are being transactional. Stoic kindness, on the other hand, is unconditional and selfless. It is given freely and without the need for validation. In the modern world, this can be particularly difficult. Social media, for example, often rewards people for their kindness in the form of likes, comments, and shares. The very idea of kindness has become commodified, as people sometimes give to gain social capital or recognition. But the Stoics would argue that this is not true kindness. The Stoic path requires us to give from a place of genuine generosity, not because we want something in return, but because it aligns with our higher values. Living in a society that thrives on instant gratification and external rewards, it can be easy to fall into the trap of giving with the hope of receiving something in return. However, the Stoic approach to kindness invites us to free ourselves from these external desires. When we give without expecting anything in return, we release ourselves from the shackles of dependence on others' reactions or validation. Instead, we focus on the intrinsic value of the act itself. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't appreciate recognition or gratitude when it comes our way. But Stoicism teaches us that we should not rely on it. True kindness, as the Stoics teach, is its own reward. It strengthens our character and allows us to live in harmony with our values. It is not about what others give us in return, but about the internal peace that comes from knowing we acted in a virtuous way. In practice, this means that we should be mindful of our motivations when we offer kindness. If we are helping someone with the expectation of receiving praise, recognition, or something else in return, we are not truly practicing Stoic kindness. True kindness comes from a place of inner virtue, where we act according to our reason and values, regardless of the outcome. Number 5, why being kind may hurt your mental health. While kindness is undoubtedly a virtue, there is a point where being too kind can start to hurt your mental health. Constantly giving, sacrificing, and extending yourself for others without taking time to care for yourself can lead to emotional burnout, stress, and resentment. The Stoics understood that personal well-being is crucial for living a virtuous life. If you neglect your mental health by giving too much of yourself to others, you risk losing your peace of mind and your ability to act with wisdom. Epictetus wisely reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This may seem counterintuitive when discussing kindness, but it holds a powerful lesson about setting boundaries. The Stoics believed that we cannot improve or live virtuously if we are constantly at the mercy of others' expectations and demands. By being too kind and overextending ourselves, we risk draining our mental and emotional reserves. True Stoic kindness involves knowing when to step back and prioritize our own well-being. It requires recognizing that we are not obligated to say yes to every request, and that it is okay to decline when our emotional resources are low. Protecting our mental health is not selfish. It is essential. We cannot serve others from an empty vessel. If we are not careful, our kindness may deplete us, leaving us unable to care for ourselves, let alone others. Stoicism teaches us that we are responsible for our own happiness and inner peace. If we allow ourselves to be overwhelmed by others' needs, we may sacrifice the very peace that enables us to lead a virtuous life. It is crucial to practice self-care and to recognize when our kindness may be causing us harm. By setting boundaries and taking time to recharge, we ensure that we can continue to act with kindness, wisdom, and clarity. In conclusion, while kindness is a powerful and important virtue, it must be practiced with discernment and self-awareness. The Stoics offer timeless wisdom on how to give with integrity, protect our mental health, and avoid the pitfalls of overextending ourselves. By applying these Stoic principles to modern-day life, we can cultivate a form of kindness that is not only sustainable, but also aligned with our greater purpose. Kindness, when practiced with wisdom and balance, is one of the greatest virtues we can cultivate. The Stoics offer timeless insights into how we can embrace kindness in a way that enhances both our own well-being and the lives of those around us. As we have explored, there are key considerations that guide us in practicing kindness without overextending ourselves, compromising our boundaries, or expecting something in return. By drawing on the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and other Stoic philosophers, we learn that true kindness is not about self-sacrifice, but about giving from a place of strength and integrity. It is about knowing when to protect our peace, recognizing when others do not deserve our kindness, and choosing to give only when it is in alignment with our values and personal well-being. In the modern world, where kindness can often be misunderstood or taken for granted, Stoicism provides the tools to navigate these complexities. By practicing kindness without expectation, we free ourselves from the need for external validation and focus on the intrinsic value of our actions. We recognize that sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do is to set boundaries and say no, allowing us to care for ourselves so we can continue to serve others in a meaningful and sustainable way. Ultimately, Stoic kindness is not about being too kind to the point of losing ourselves, but about offering kindness wisely with self-respect and clarity of purpose. By applying these Stoic teachings to our daily lives, we can cultivate a form of kindness that is both virtuous and grounded in wisdom, a kindness that not only helps others, but also strengthens our own character and inner peace. As you continue on your journey, remember that kindness is a practice. It is an ongoing process of understanding where your energy is best directed and when it is time to preserve your own well-being. By embracing Stoic principles, you can ensure that your kindness remains a powerful force for good in both your life and the world around you. If you found this video helpful, please like and share it to spread the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss future videos on Stoic living and personal growth. Thank you for watching, and I wish you strength on your journey.